Cameron Jordan off the board after a mini slide as well from him. Certainly a lot of potential at the defensive end position from California.
And when you look at Cameron Jordan, we talked about this guy a little bit, scheme-wise, fits better than a 3-4, playing the end position there. However, in a 4-3, he still has the versatility to be impactful on a couple different spots in line, maybe play some D tackles, still can play some end in some rush situations. He's got a great motor. He's a strong defender. This is one of those situations we talked about, best player available. Not necessarily fits scheme, but talent-wise, he's at the top of the board for the Saints.
Could not agree more. Plus, yes, he is scheme-specific now, but as I said earlier, Will Smith is the perennial starter at Cameron Jordan's position on the New Orleans Saints, so he's got some time to adjust to that 4-3 position. I think he's going to do fine, and as Tom said, you had to take the best available in this situation. The Saints only got better. Would have liked to see them draft on the offensive side of the ball, but it is early in the draft. Second round, there's still going to be a lot of running backs available, possibly all of them if we don't see Marvin go off the board. Great pick by the New Orleans Saints. Love to see Cameron Jordan finally go off the board. I feel like we've been talking about him since maybe even the top 10, so great pick by the New Orleans
Tom,
Saints.
what's his impact in year one?
In year one, I think you're seeing, as you mentioned, Will Smith is currently entrenched as the starter of the end. He's one of those guys that starts playing part-time, maybe third down rush situations, things like that. He's slowly going to work his way in, not going to make the impact year one some of these other ends are going to, but eventually down the road, year two, year three, he's going to be a much more productive player.
And as I said about Cameron Jordan earlier, he's a guy who, when he's on the field, he is giving you 110% every single time. He is not going to stop, which is great for a rookie. That's what you want to see. He's going to breathe life into that defensive line, which isn't getting any younger, as I said. So Cameron Jordan will be a great offset to what they have now in New Orleans.
Cameron Jordan, clearly a guy who improved so much during his collegiate career. Well, how do you improve? It's all about coaching.
We've all heard the saying that football is won and lost on the line of scrimmage. So let's talk about the matchup between the offensive tackle and the defensive end. Here, I'll be the defensive end, Andrew's going to be the offensive tackle. Now, in the old days, offensive tackle was just these big, mauling, run-blocking guys. Today, it's much different. So he's going to show you what a typical kick slide is going to be right off the line of scrimmage from a speed rusher so he can cut him off and prevent him from getting the quarterback. So what Andrew's taught is to kick slide back a couple steps so he prevents the defensive end to get to the quarterback. However, once in a while, a power rush is going to occur, and Andrew's going to have to recover and react just like any corner or safety might have to do in the defensive backfield. That's why these guys are much more athletic. They're converted tight ends compared to years ago when they were just big, mauling, run-blocking offensive linemen. Now, let's talk about what a defensive end might do in this situation. First, his first move, no matter if he's a power guy or a speed guy, is going to be get his inside hand on the inside shoulder. Then he's going to either do a speed rush, which is get through, get as parallel to the ground as possible, and get to the quarterback, or it's going to be a power move where you couple this hand with this other arm, lock out, and shed and get to the quarterback. So obviously, both these guys are much different positions than they used to be 10 years ago. However, they're going to face some stiff competition at the next level.
The Chiefs now have the Falcons pick. Let's check out the draft order. What is unfolding here? So many trades. 21, the Chiefs were in that spot. They traded out with the Browns. 22, the Colts there. 23, the Philadelphia Eagles. 24, the New Orleans Saints just made their pick. Now on the clock, the Seattle Seahawks at 25, and then you get to see the blue bloods of the NFL. 26, the Ravens, as we said. 27 is actually the Chiefs. 28, the New England Patriots. 29, the Chicago Bears. Number 30, the New York Jets with their brash coach, Rex Ryan. 31, well, there's no better team in the league, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers. And of course, 32, the Super Bowl winning Green Bay Packers. But let's go back. The number 25 team is on the clock.
The 2010 season was an odd one for the Seattle Seahawks. After coach Jim Mora was fired, owner Paul Allen found his replacement in former USC head coach Pete Carroll. That wasn't the only change, though. Pro Bowl defensive end Patrick Kearney unexpectedly retired, and the team cut receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh-Luce one season into his 5-year contract. The Seahawks were very active on draft day, acquiring return specialist Leon Washington from the New York Jets and drafting offensive tackle Russell Okong and safety Earl Thomas in the first round. While Thomas had a spectacular season as a rookie, Okong missed 6 games due to injury and did not play like a 6th overall pick. The Seahawks sputtered on both sides of the ball, finishing among the bottom 10 teams in the league in offense and defense. However, the team beat the St. Louis Rams in the critical Week 17 matchup to win the NFC West, becoming the first team to ever win a division with a sub-500 record. They went on to play the New Orleans Saints in the divisional round of the playoffs and pulled off one of the most stunning upsets in recent history, thanks largely in part to mid-season acquisition Marshawn Lynch, who had the performance of a lifetime. Even though the Seahawks made the playoffs, there are still plenty of holes that need to be filled on the team before they can hope to reach another Super Bowl.
Seahawks may have some need on the defensive line. To see what the top echelon players on the defensive line look like, let's look at a guy drafted earlier tonight in J.J. Watt.
The trend in the NFL is moving away from the traditional 4-3 defensive scheme into the 3-4 defensive set. Guys like Clay Matthews and DeMarcus Ware rack up these sacks and pressures from the outside. But what's just as important are the defensive ends right in front of him. In my opinion, J.J. Watt is the prototypical 3-4 defensive end because of his size, his motor, and his tenacity. Here, Watt is lined up as a left defensive end in a 4-3 scheme. Since it is an obvious passing situation, Watt's main goal is to get to the quarterback. Even at 6'6" and 290 pounds, Watt shows a great burst off the line, getting a full yard ahead of any other Badger. Watt easily gets past the opposing right tackle, laying out and getting to the quarterback. From another angle, we can see Watt's patented slap and swim move. As you can see, he's able to control the tackle's hands with his left arm and create separation with the right arm swim. Very rarely do you find a college player with these kinds of technical skills. Watt is also just as effective against the run. Here, a bit later in the game, in a one-on-one matchup, Watt blows by the overmatched tight end, then overpowers the running back on the way to making the play in the backfield. In slow motion, we can see Watt understanding that the tight end is overextending his block, causing him to be off balance. Watt easily sheds the block and keeps his eyes in the backfield to make the play. Although Watt played in a 4-3 defense at Wisconsin, many of the same skills he used in college will translate to a 3-4 scheme. Although Watt lacks elite athleticism, he was a terror in the Big Ten, and there's no reason to think he will be any less of a headache for offensive coordinators in the NFL.
Thanks very much, Josh. Now let's look at the next 5 picks on the board in the NFL draft. Or the last 5 picks, excuse me. Number 20 was Adrian Claiborne, the defensive end to Tampa Bay, who had just been robbed of Prince Amukamara at the cornerback position. 22, a bit of a surprise. Cleveland trading up back from their spot that they had gotten with the Falcons to draft big old Phil Taylor. 22, Anthony Costanzo from Indianapolis. 23, Danny Watkins went to the Eagles. And 24, Cameron Jordan finally off the board to the Saints. Now, guys, let's look at number 25. Do the Seahawks have a pressing need here? Tom.
I think they do. And you mentioned, we talked about whether they draft for now or the future. And I think Matt Hasselbeck, as old as he is now, 35 years old, I think it's time to draft that replacement. You got Charlie Whitehurst as your backup. Don't think he's the answer. I think you guys like Ryan Mallett, Colin Kaepernick, Andy Dalton staring you right in the face. I think you have to take one of them.
Yeah, this is one of the last few teams that we're going to see with real glaring team needs.
Yeah.
Somehow Seattle was a playoff team last year, but that's a story for
7-9.
another day.
That's impressive, right?
Yeah, we won't get into that right now. But yeah, as you said, definitely need a quarterback. Charlie Whitehurst did not seem like the answer last year. Really struggled. Also at right tackle, they have a great left tackle anchor on that side in Russell Okung, but really not a lot of talent on the right side of the ball, which they could certainly use. Marshawn Lynch had a bit of a revolution in the playoffs last year, so I'm sure they'd love to see more out of him going into next year. So I think you're going to see them go for the offensive side of the ball, hopefully at quarterback.
Well, boys, we're about to find out. The 25th pick is in. Building here in Studio B.
With the 25th pick of the 2011 draft, the Seattle Seahawks select James Carpenter, offensive guard, Alabama.
And another major shock here at the 25th pick, the Seattle Seahawks